job of sort of establishing, like just to make sure that every single group, like whoever wants to drink or not, like they're all sort of like they have activities or like, movie nights and stuff like that. And that's sort of just, I'm quite confused. I just need clarification as to why is it like the whole like someone being introverted? How does that really like? I didn't really understand your plan on that, and I didn't also understand why you like planned like karaoke and stuff. Like why were those two concepts brought together? Because like I feel like someone introverted would not really be excited by going up and like performing in front of people. I didn't
No,
it's got like very confusing.
It's not about performing and like getting in front of a huge audience and sing or talk or anything. It's just getting together with others and not focus on the fact that they have to socialize, but rather focus on the fact that, for example, I and Esther will definitely make fun of ourselves and we will definitely perform something. And so the others can just laugh at us and bond on that. So mainly it's not about that people are introvert and extrovert, it's just that we will kind of try to include everybody and include everybody in a way that they attend because they feel that it's just too much for them. So we will have smaller groups or sessions where, or like programs where they don't have to feel so like suffocated by the pressure under socializing, but they can just bond on us being ridiculous. Thank you.
Any other questions for just Bianca? Cool. Any specific questions for John and Kensha? Nope. And any specific questions just for Alex and Nicole? Cool, right. So now you can ask general questions of all three and compare their answers and see who's getting an extra international say. Yeah, this is obviously a proposal of John and Kensha. You are, but I just have to tell everyone you're the president.
So I think a really important issue and point is that a lot of international students don't often make friends with UK students whilst they're in university. There's a statistic bouncing around somewhere. It's quite shocking how few of them make UK friends. How much of a priority is it that you get them involved with home students, and what sort of things would you be able to do in order to sort of break the barrier, which is sadly quite often there between groups of international students and groups of home students? How would you get them all together and not feeling so scared?
Alex, Nicole.
Well, we kind of actually talked about this, and there was a similar question I think that was asked last year to Kim and Henry. And it isn't our place to say who you can be friends with. I don't think anyone's saying that. But people stick with like groups. So I know it's very cliche, but jocks stick with jocks. Like people that like work hard, and we're not here to say you have to do this and do that. What I found personally was, during International Week, I made more friends than I assumed I would. Just because I was being obviously like Nicole, and I'm living with two people next year that are international as well. Obviously there are still some integration problems with a lot of people, but I don't think it's our role to say you have to have a quota of English students friends with,
Can I just add, I just say that we didn't really mention it when we were making our speech, but we want to revive like the international committee and have events throughout the term. And although they'll be geared to international students, maybe like focusing on like a certain holiday or a certain celebration, we think that maybe it wouldn't be only for international students. So we would encourage maybe home students to come so they can like see their perspective, and it's not just internationals trying to integrate into the UK, but it can be more of a like two-way street type thing.
And if anything, I found that after International Week, I was so excited for Freshers Week because I had already got like a backup group of friends I could go into. Freshers Week thinking myself and knowing that even if no one else likes me, like if I had a really bad flaw with loads of people that didn't like me, I could say, well, that's okay because I know that I've still got all these friends as well, and you can integrate them with home students as well when you make friends with them. So,
Fine, Kensha.
Actually, as an international fresher, I have to say that British people are really nice. They're really, really nice. I honestly don't think that you find that harsh locals. I honestly found it ridiculously easy. And funnily enough, having international friends meant that we could actually make friends together. That's actually what Jay and I did, right? Like, he actually came up to my floor that day, and then we made friends with everyone new on our floor together. So I feel like it wouldn't be that harsh of an issue, but even so, our manifesto says that we would probably encourage the use of fresher buddies, where we would assign perhaps like an international fresher buddy to each international.
Like Alex mentioned, it's sort of like a support system which you have. The international freshers, then those friends are like there for you, and then you sort of feel more free to talk to the other people, and like you can sort of socialize better. And I think on the whole, it's actually better to actually have some amount of friends. So at least the first week of international freshers, you're comfortable living in college. Otherwise, if you're like not very well integrated in your first week, you'll sort of feel like, oh, I'm not really sure about this. I don't really want to be here, and sort of insecurity or something.
You said it doesn't.
So we would mainly encourage students to join as many clubs as they possibly can. So for example, I joined Wood Players, and I am like one of the few international people there, I think. Am I correct? Yeah. And also we would we would organize events where we would point out who would be with whom in a group, and we would try to make it like as mixed groups, like international and British people as possible. Furthermore, we are also planning to do a tandem language program, which means that people who speak different languages can go on like one-on-one teaching and learning sessions, and they can, for example, I speak German, so I can teach anybody German if you want to. And so this gives also an opportunity for the British students and also for the international students to communicate with each other and to get to know each other, and also an amazing opportunity to learn a new language. Yay!
I'm going to take 2 more questions. Anna.
What do you think the current international officers did badly about challenging the crew?
Charlie Cash.
Go ahead.
Alright. Well, as we mentioned in our manifesto, I feel like the role of the international officer just died like after International Freshers Week. And I feel like obviously international students are prevalent all throughout the year. We need to probably integrate that international community spirit a lot more. I think an international event that happened at university just a while ago was the Indian Festival of Holi, and also it's basically a festival of colors where you just throw paint at each other, and it's a lot of fun. And I feel like having these international festivals throughout the year would probably allow other British students, local students, to understand and learn about other cultures, as well as allow international students to feel more at home. So maybe something like that would probably be better for the role.
Also, one more thing about like, okay, so when I came to uni, I was 17. So like my entire first 2 months, I was 17. So like during Freshers Week, one really good thing which Henry and Kim had was the part about the free softs in the bar, which was really good because then it sort of encouraged non-people who usually drink to sort of stay in college and not drink with the underage people. But there still remains some. It's like the night at the library when we all went out. Sort of for the underage people, it sort of like felt like we're missing out on something. So maybe possibly having, say, like maybe a disco if the tech crew can figure it out. Maybe having a small disco up in the dining hall or something for like the underage people, which even the people who are above age can sort of join in because it's free. So like sort of having more inclusion of the underage people, even though they're only like maybe 7 or 8 of us. But it's still like, no one should be left out.
But overall, I feel like International Freshers Week for us was pretty excellent. It's quite a high benchmark to try and get.
Yeah, actually, I do agree with them. But another point is that I would definitely organize a little bit more events, maybe, because we didn't really have like a lot of things to do during the International Week. Everything started at Freshers Week, or like the bigger things started during Freshers Week, which is also understandable because we needed our energy for Freshers Week. But I would organize more, or we would, with Esther, organize more events during International Week, and we would also continue with international events and parties throughout the year, as does Esther actually, because we just had an international party this Friday and it was awesome. Yeah, so that is going to go on next year as well. So you can join us.
Yeah, so basically, what Lucia said, it wasn't anything, there was nothing bad with what they did. It was more a case of, and coming from, obviously I'm a first year student, I'm pretty naive about the workload second year. We do want to keep some kind of sense of community with International Committee. People seem to have struggled with putting things on. I think we're pretty different with that because I speak for myself, kind of follow passions at the expense of my degree sometimes, so I think I can put things on. It doesn't have to be massive, one meeting for an international committee, a term, and one event maybe, and it doesn't even have to be celebrating an international event, just to get people back together, because I know a lot of the people, a lot of the friends I made in International Week, I maybe lost touch with a little bit, as I was saying in the speech, and it would have just been nice to have that kind of reboot and to say, hey, how have you been since, you know, and who you hanging with now, and that kind of thing.
And just adding on to that, like one of the biggest burdens for international students, which home students don't usually have, is all the admin that they do. And so one of the things that we really, really want to do is get in touch with them before Freshers Week, which was done. We had the international handbook, which had a lot of information that was really useful. But I think that one thing that I was lucky enough to find out is that depending on the bank that you choose, you can actually start the bank process online. And it just made it so much easier for when I arrived, because I arrived on a Wednesday. On a Friday, I had already booked an appointment online, so I had my appointment online. And then in the afternoon, I had my bank account, which meant I could have like a phone contract as well. So even before Freshers Week started, I had that all sorted. And so it was just one of the biggest burdens that was gone already.
So just streamlining the kind of integration into college life, basically.
Yeah.
Final question, but I'm going to make you keep your answers short. Yes, Henry.
First of all, Kim and I just want to say huge congratulations to all of you for running this very revered position. Super proud of you all. I guess my question is, other than being international, what actually makes you capable to effectively handle 80 to 100 international students for 4 days who will present problems that you've probably never dealt with before? For example, we had some students with very significant visa issues. We had students whose luggage completely disappeared off the face of the earth. We found it in the end. So basically, thanks to Kim's translation abilities. But yeah, what effectively sets you apart, other than being international, for this position?
Gave you 30 seconds each to answer this question.
Okay, but first of all, we speak 7 different languages altogether, so that's pretty amazing, I think, and we can cover quite a lot of areas. And second of all, as we have already, or as I have already said, we have already organized a lot of events. And for example, our Halloween event last year, 2 years ago, there were 150 people, so we can manage 80 to 100 and something people because we have already done this. So we do know how to do it because, as I said, experience.
Yeah.
So I think we had really good.
Just 2 seconds. Sorry, you started. I'll give it an extra.
Okay, so I think we have really good communication between us and then also between the other preps and also other international students to draw on their experiences that they might have had.
And then kind of tying into what Nicole was saying, trying to draw on getting response and communication with the students coming in early as possible. So we kind of break some barriers before they've even arrived. And I think because we're so sociable, like we can do that pretty easily.
Cool.
I think the fact that we are international representatives, that is invariably what would cause people to sort of like present ourselves as